All right, what's up, guys? It's Murphy's Philosophy here. So today we're going to be talking about Kimber 1911's. And the Kimber 1911's suck? Well, I mean, that's the opinion of a lot of people out there. Um, and I'm going to get into kind of why those opinions are out there, a little history and stuff. First thing I want to do is show off something that's a little bit rare. You've probably seen them around. This is my new Warrior SOC. And this is a kind of a special Warrior that Kimber did. I think they only made this for a couple of years, but with that dark green frame with that desert tan slide. It just says Warrior SOC right there. Night sights and all that. These nice VZ slant grips. But just a really, really great looking gun. I got it basically like new in box. It's a used gun, obviously, because Kimber hasn't made the SOC Warriors in several years. But I found this one on Gunbroker, just immaculate, perfect condition. Obviously, I could tell because they had really good photos that this gun hadn't been shot like literally at all, really, I don't think. And just absolutely mint condition Warrior SOC. So, yeah, just a great gun. Really happy about that. The gun I bought before this was my TLE, and this has taken the role of my primary carry gun. Yeah, I carry a full steel frame 1911. I was carrying my lightweight for a while, but I just love the TLE. I love the model. It's a very iconic handgun. Yeah, it's really great. So this one's loaded, so I'm not gonna mess with it too much. This is my old Kimber Pro Carry. Now, the Kimbers suck. No. You can stop the video right now if you want to. No, they don't suck. Kimbers are actually great 1911s, okay? They make more 1911s than any other company out there. I know that. I don't know if they still do. I think they still do. But they used to average 1,000 pistols a week out of their shop. So think about making 1,000 1911s a week. That's a lot of volume. And this is one of the reasons why some people, oh, Kimber suck, whatever, whatever. So let's think of it this way. If you make 1,000 guns a week, and 1% of those guns, there's something wrong with them, right? Quality control didn't catch them or whatever, but you have a rate of about 1% in your production, and this is kind of how production works, that's going to have a problem. And that's within your margin of error. And then you have another gun company that makes 100 1911s a week, and they have the same 1% rate of failure. Which gun company is going to have more total guns on the market that are going to need a little extra work that aren't quite perfect? Well, obviously it's the company that's making 1,000 guns a week, because 1% of 1,000 is way more than 1% of 100. So the total number of guns out there that is going to need, that has something wrong with them, some little QC issue or some part that's not right or whatever, it's going to be a lot more. And I think this is one of the reasons that people have this misconception about Kimbers. Oh, Kimbers are, not very good, whatever, whatever. It's because they have more guns out there that have problems because they make more guns. It's not that their failure rate is higher than other gun companies. It's not because their QC is worse than other gun companies. It's not because any of that. It's simply because they have more volume of products on the market. So therefore, the total number of products that are going to have issues is higher. And it's unfortunate, but it's just simply a fact of manufacturing. You have your tolerances in manufacturing, your go, no-go, and all that kind of stuff, and you have those tolerances as tight as you can get them, but it is what it is. It's a production gun, so, it's just part of it. So our Kimber's 1911 trash, or they crap, or they da da da. No, they're great guns. Okay, this is why I carry Kimbers. I don't carry Kimbers because I get paid by them or I get anything for them. No, I carry them because they work. Because every Kimber that I've ever bought has just run, right? It feeds everything. They work. I don't have problems with them. There's one issue that I'm going to touch on that I've seen more frequently with Kimbers than other 1911s, but it's more of a 1911 issue more than it is a Kimber issue. But I'll touch on that in a second. But that's why I carry these guns, because they work. I've owned mini Colts. I've owned Springfields. I've owned all different kind of 1911s over the years. And the Kimbers, I've just had the fewest problems with, and they just run. And I love the way they look. I love their aesthetics. I love the way Kimber does their slide serrations, how they chamfer the edges, but they're still good. They still grip your hand. I love the way Kimbers feel in my hand, the way that they machine their frames. They feel just really good to me, better than the new Colts do. I hate that new undercut that Colt does. It just irritates me to no end. So I love the look. I love the style. I love how they're made. I love that Kimbers are 100% American-made guns, unlike some other companies that claim to be American-made. Kimbers actually are 100% American-made, all the way down to the screws that are in these things, in the grips. They're 100% made in America. The frame, slides, American steel, American companies, they're made in America. And you know, unfortunately, Colt is owned by CZ now. They're owned by a Czech company. Springfield, I know all the Springfield fanboys are going to be pissed off, but Springfield has been known forever to get their frames and slides and even some of their barrels from Brazil or from other countries. So Springfields are really not made in America. They're more assembled in America, which is why they put the Made in America stamp on it, and they can technically say they're made in America, even though many of their parts come from overseas, okay? I find that disingenuous. That's just my personal opinion. Now, let's look at some Kimbers here. This is the oldest one I own. This is an old Pro Carry, and I did the work on this myself. I checkered the front strap, this 20 line per inch checkering, short trigger. I dehorned the whole gun. I refinished the whole gun. And this gun I've had for several years. I did a little enhancement on the guide rod right here. I chopped it a little bit and beveled it. The reason I did that is so I can take this gun apart with no tools. I don't need the little paper clip to take this Pro Carry apart. I can disassemble it with no tools. And I've carried this gun for a long time. I mean, this is several years old. I don't even know how many rounds this gun has through it. It's had a lot. I know I've replaced the recoil spring probably 5 or 6 times throughout the years. So, and guess how many malfunctions this gun has had? Yeah, if you guessed 0, you would be correct. 0 malfunctions. This gun eats everything I've put into it. It has never jammed. No issues at all. My Kimber TLE, this gun, like I said, this one's loaded. This gun, no problems at all. And this gun just hit the 1,000 round mark. I have 900 rounds of ball and about 100 rounds of various hollow points through this gun. The hollow points I typically test are Remington Gold Saber, Spear Gold Dot, and Winchester Ranger. And this gun ate 100 rounds of those mixed ammo like it was nothing. And another 900 rounds of ball. Again, not a single hiccup. Okay? No problems whatsoever. This gun I bought just because I really wanted it, and it's a kind of a unique gun. And I never, I didn't think I'd ever be able to find one in this condition again. So, this gun has seen some rounds, but this gun only has about 200 through it. This gun's not getting a lot of play. But 200 rounds, and of course, no issues at all. Now, Um, that's kind of the skinny with Kimbers. Like I have used Kimbers I've heavily used them for about 10 years. Okay. Um, I've carried them professionally. I've carried them in the rain, in the heat. I've shot them dirty. I've shot them all kind of ways. And every Kimber that I've had has just run, and there's been no problem with them. One issue, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. But that's why I went with Kimbers. Like I said, I shot a lot of rounds through Colts. I was originally a Colt guy. Tried Springfield. I don't buy Springfields, just me personally, not because their products are not good, but because I don't like the company. I'm not a fan of Springfield, the company, so I don't buy from them. That's just my personal opinion. But with Kimbers, I just found guns that they fit my hand great. I love the way they're built. I like the way they look, and they work. They just work. Every Kimber that I have works. Some of you have probably seen this one. This is my Kimber lightweight. I went ahead and put a mag well on it, whatever, some gunner grips. But this is an aluminum frame. Lightweight Series 70 aluminum frame. And this gun has about 600, 700 rounds through it. Not a problem. No hiccup whatsoever. And that includes about 50 rounds of hollow points. This was my carry gun before I went to the full steel TLE. Great gun. And this gun was bought last year. So again, that's why I like Kimber. When I buy one, I just know it's going to work. I know what it's going to do. I know it's going to work. Now, the only issue that I have had with Kimbers is premature slide lock. Okay? Basically what happens is you're shooting the gun, and about 3 or 4 rounds into the magazine, the gun will lock back on its own. And you'll be like, what the hell? And you'll look in it, and there'll still be a couple of rounds in the mag, but the gun will lock back. Now, what causes this is the rounds in the magazine, as the gun is fired, those rounds will move, these are dummy rounds obviously, will move forward in the mag like that. Okay, so they move forward in the mag. This happens under recoil, right? The gun is kicking back, the bullets are kind of stationary, so they get pushed to the front of the magazine. So as the bullets are going forward, right, they're also moving up in the magazine as new rounds are being cycled. Obviously, this is how a magazine works. We all know this. So one thing that can happen with 1911's, because of the way they're built and because of how tight the tolerances and everything on them are, what can happen is this top round, once you shoot about 3 or 4 rounds, that round can move forward enough in the magazine to where when that round gets chambered into the gun, the tip of this bullet, the nose of this bullet, hits the inside lug of the slide stop. Okay? It hits that little lug in there. I don't know if you can see it, but it hits that little inside slide stop lug, and it pushes the slide stop up, and it locks the gun back. Okay? It's kind of annoying. It's not a huge problem, but it's kind of annoying. Now, this is a standard problem with 1911's. I've had Springfields that have done this. I've had other guns that have done this. But I see it more often with Kimbers. For whatever reason, I don't know. So, the way to fix that is there's 2 ways. One, you can file a little notch in the back of your slide stop that will hold the slide stop down, like this one has done to it, right? It just holds it down. So in case that bullet hits that internal lug, it will not push the slide stop up. Because remember, on a 1911, there's nothing holding this slide stop down. The only thing is that little bit of friction placed on it by the plunger tube. That's it. That is the only thing holding this slide stop down. So, because of that reason, they do have a propensity to premature slide lock. Now, Wilson Combat has developed a fix for that. And the Wilson Combat fix that they put on their bulletproof slide stops is they actually machine that little ramp into the back of the slide stop for you. So when you buy a Wilson bulletproof slide stop, it already has that modification done. And it's done specifically to prevent premature slide lock. Okay? So what I do on all my guns is I'll do one of two things. I will either hand file a little ramp in the back of my slide stop, okay? And I'll take this one apart to show you real quick what I'm talking about so that you understand. Okay, see if I can get this focused. See, there it is, all right? So I just file a little ramp in the back of the slide stop right there, okay? I just file that down with a file and then refinish it, okay? So you can do that, and that will fix the problem, or you can buy a Wilson bulletproof slide stop that already has that done. So I'll go either way. All these guns have Wilson bulletproof slide stops in them. This one I hand gunsmith myself. But if you're having premature slide lock, just remember that's the problem. That's what's doing it. It's the slide stop, and it's an easy fix. Now, I choose on most of my guns to just replace the slide stop with the Wilson bulletproof. And the reason I do that is because, and I would do that regardless of what 1911 I bought. I don't care if it's a Springfield, a Colt, a Kimber, I don't give a damn. It's going to get a Wilson bulletproof slide stop, or I'm going to do the modification myself. One of the two. Because premature slide lock is an issue with 1911s. So, most of the time I choose to just buy the Wilson. Because the Wilson also has another feature that is really nice. It's really cool. And that feature, I'll show you on this one, that feature is this. All right, see the notch into the back, just like the way I do it with a file. But you see this little indent right here, this little notch. That is awesome. That is an idiot scratch notch. Okay, so what that means is when I go to reinsert my slide stop and put my gun back together, all I got to do is line that up, put it right there, and that's it. You just press it straight in so you don't get that little idiot scratch on your gun. That's a really cool feature, right? And I like that. It makes disassembling and reassembling the gun much easier, okay? That's another reason why I go ahead and spend the extra $50 to get a bulletproof Wilson Combat slide stop. It's worth it to me, okay? But that is it, guys. That is the only issue that I have had with Kimber pistols is a more higher likelihood of premature slide lock. Other than that, I have had no problems. I have never had an extractor break, an ejector break. I've never had any part come apart. I've never had any kind of issue with any of my Kimbers. They just run and run and run no matter what ammo I use, no matter what. They just work, and they just work wonderfully well. And they have a really nice, good, clean look. I love the looks of them. So that's why I run with Kimber. Now, I know some people, oh, I've had limited, whatever. Okay, here's the deal. And what got me thinking about that is Hilton Yam recently posted on Instagram of a group of Kimber warriors that he worked on back in 2008, so 16 years ago. And many of those had issues. And he posted a picture on Instagram, and you can go look at it, where he's got a group of Kimber warriors, and he's like, well, they had this part break, that part break, they had da-da-da-da-da. And he gave that as proof as to why he doesn't recommend Kimbers. And that's fine. He is totally entitled to his opinion. There's nothing wrong with that at all. However, that's very disingenuous. And I'm going to tell you why that's disingenuous. It's disingenuous because he was hired to go teach that SWAT team a shooting class. He had no idea how hard those guns have been run. Were the springs replaced often? Were they maintained right? How old were those guns? So on and so forth. You don't know. Okay? You can take a group of any 1911 you want. I don't care if you get a group of Wilson Combat 1911s and you shoot the hell out of them and you don't maintain them. You don't replace the recoil springs. You don't do the required maintenance. You don't do that. Those guns are going to break. They're going to have parts failures. They're going to have issues because they're not being properly maintained and they're being run really hard. So the point is yeah, that's cool that he posted a picture of the Warriors, okay, and the issues. Okay, got it, cool, no problem. But if he really wanted to say something substantive, he would have said how long those pistols had been in use, what round counts were through those guns, and what maintenance had been done to them, if any. None of that was posted, which it was basically the post was just more Kimber bashing. And I'm sorry, but my experience, and this is just a few of the Kimbers that I have owned over the last 10 years, I have not had those problems. And I shoot my guns. I mean, this gun has got 1,000 rounds put through it in about 6 weeks. Okay? This gun, I put 600 rounds through in about a month. This gun has had thousands of rounds put through it over the years. And so it's not like I shoot 50 rounds and call them good. No, my guns get shot. I go to the range about every week to every other week, and I'll put 200 to 300 rounds through my guns during those range sessions. I shoot a lot, okay? So they're not safe queens. These things get shot. But I also know how to maintain my guns. I replace the recoil springs. I make sure they're good and cleaned and oiled and all that kind of good stuff, right? And so that's the deal, guys. Like, are Kimber's junk? No, they're fantastic in my opinion. I have had nothing but good things to say about them. I've never had any safety problems, parts breakages, nothing. I've never had that. When I carried Kimber's professionally, I don't anymore because of administrative, whatever reasons. But when I carried Kimbers professionally, I carried them in the harshest conditions you can imagine, okay? In the rain, in the dirt, in the snow, in the whatever, through long range sessions and training classes and on real operations and all that kind of stuff. And guess how many malfunctions I had? 0. I had a big fat 0. Never had a problem. They fed everything. They were 100% reliable. No issues. So that's what kind of sold me on Kimbers, because they, in my opinion and in my experience, your experience may differ from this, but in my experience, they just work. They work very, very well. And I've not had any problems with them. So the guys out there, like, they'll buy one Kimber and it'll have problems, and the first thing they do is run to the internet and start, oh, this crappy Kimber. Okay, your sample size of one doesn't mean anything, right? A better example would be multiple different guns bought and used extensively over multiple years, which is what I have done. If Kimbers didn't work, I wouldn't carry them. I wouldn't buy them. End of story. Guns have to work. Like, I'm a pragmatist. If it doesn't work, I got no time for it. And my Kimbers work. And every Kimber I've ever had has worked. No problem. The slide stop issue, I talked about that. It's a thing with 1911's. I just circumvent that whole thing by dropping a Wilson bulletproof part in, which I would do with any 1911 that I bought. If it's a gun I'm going to really trust, I'm gonna drop a new part in, or I'm going to gunsmith that part myself and test it and check it at the range to make sure I'm good before I carry that gun. So that's kind of what it is on that. Anyway, pretty guns to look at. I appreciate you listening to me ramble about the Kimbers and all this. Man, this is so much groupthink. The groupthink out there is that Kimbers are crap and whatever. It's just garbage, man. It's garbage. Kimbers are legendary 1911s used by Marine Special Forces, SWAT teams all over the country, freaking even Delta Forces use Kimbers. Not very many people know that. That's, but they have. Trust me. So yeah, very highly regarded guns, American made 100%, and they just run. So yeah, I'm a fan. I like them. If Kimber ever starts making crap one day and their guns don't run, trust me, I'll be the first one to fucking ditch them. I got no time for that. But they work, they run, and so I use them. Anyway, that's all I got for the day. This is Murphy signing off, guys.